Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good afternoon. If you're just waking up, good morning to you. I'm just playing. Good afternoon and welcome. It's the big three on Hard Facts here with myself, Somi. That's Somi, short for Apena Somi. Always an honor as to be here taking you through on all the conversations from 3 to 7 p.m. Today's Tuesday, and it's just me all through in the studio today, but of course with you as my guests, my co-hosts, my co-commentators, and all of that. I hope that we'll be doing this together up until it's time to wrap up and move on to the next show for the day. 3:12 is the time. The day is the 4th of November 2025, and let's get into the stories, shall we? As usual, we are streaming live on Facebook and YouTube. Go to Nigeria Info Abuja to be a part of the conversations there. Send in your comments, share your thoughts. And on WhatsApp, you can also send voice notes as well. And of course, when we open the phone lines, you can jump in on everything that we have shared so far. Starting with this one, China has come out in a very strong worded statement to oppose Trump's threat against Nigeria and declare their support for the Nigerian government. They said, look, we're not going to have this. We're strategic partners with Nigeria, and we would not tolerate any such talk coming from you. This making it sort of like an official declaration of everything that's been going on in terms of strategic partnership with Nigeria, right? So they declared their opposition to the U.S. threat of sanctions or military action against Nigeria over allegations of mass slaughter of Christians. And they made this position known today when the Foreign Ministry spokesperson, Mao Ning, addressed a press conference in Beijing. She said, and I quote, "As Nigeria's comprehensive strategic partner, China firmly supports the Nigerian government in leading its people on the development path suited to national conditions." A lot of diplomatic speak there. She continued saying, "China firmly opposes any country using religion and human rights as an excuse to interfere in other countries' internal affairs and threatening other countries with sanctions and force." And Premium Times also reported, of course, the threat by U.S. President Donald Trump and all the other dailies to sanction Nigeria or use military action if the Nigerian government does not stop what they called genocide against Nigerian Christians. And so this is the response coming from China. It remains to see if there's going to be any back and forth between the two countries. But yes, China coming out to warn, really, against any interference in Nigeria's affairs. They say they have a clear-cut stance on the U.S. cracking down on so-called drug cartels by force in the Caribbean Sea. Of course, this is also in response to what the U.S. position is as far as Venezuela, or the President Nicolas Maduro, who's seeking military equipment from China, Russia, and Iran to prepare for possible attacks by the U.S. And just in case you don't know what's going on, we're talking about deployments by the thousands, on the border, if you will, or very close to Venezuela, by the U.S., as an option, if you will, or sort of like a preparation to invade. So China speaking not just against the threat about what the threat as far as the U.S. To Nigeria, but also looking at their other partners as well, Venezuela being one of them. And he said they stand against moves that undermine peace and stability in all the regions, but specifically in this case, Latin America and the Caribbean region, and oppose unilateral and excessive enforcement operations against other countries' vessels. And they said they hope the U.S. will engage in normal law enforcement and judicial cooperation through bilateral and multilateral legal frameworks. So, China speaking, again, very strongly, cautioning the U.S. against making such threats. That is the first story that we have here. And, perhaps as the conversation continues and I open up the phone lines and have you as my guests come in, we will also look at what that means for Nigeria, looking at her partnership with China. Some people also alluded to the fact that part of the reason why Trump was quick to make such statements is because they see a number of things happening, what with Nigeria, kind of wanting to look like they're going to align with BRICS nations. Also, their refusal to take in deportees and a number of other issues. It's just Nigeria putting up a front, as a, let me use the term that, was making the rounds, as a sovereign nation to say, look, we're well within our rights to say yes or no to certain things that you want to put forward. And some people said this is part of the reason why Trump, was so quick to come out and make a case because, Nigeria is not the only country listed as a country of particular concern, but you don't see Trump taking this kind of stance against other countries of particular concern. I think China, if I'm not mistaken, is also a country of particular concern. But he won't make such statements, right? So there's a lot going on beneath the surface concerning that whole move by U.S. President Donald Trump, and China has come out to respond. So we'll come to that in a little bit and see. But just before we move on from that story, it's looking like the president is trying to, if you will, fast track moves to appoint new ambassadors given the current tension between the U.S. and Nigeria. Reports have it that he's set to conclude the appointment of ambassadors to Nigeria's foreign missions worldwide after months of diplomatic gaps and growing pressure over the country's absence of envoys abroad. Apparently, after he withdrew Nigeria's after he recalled all ambassadors from Nigeria's 109 foreign missions, comprising of 76 embassies, 22 high commissions, and 11 consulates, as part of what he termed a comprehensive diplomatic review. What we've had in all these other countries and all these places where this diplomatic personnel were withdrawn is what we call chargé d'affaires, right? Or senior consular officers with limited authority to represent Nigeria in formal negotiations. So, perhaps he's looked at it and said, situations and the way this entire conversation around what's going on in Nigeria in terms of genocide or no genocide has devolved to the point where perhaps if we had ambassadors across all of these countries in the U.S., with all these conversations going on, as opposed to the back and forth on Twitter, perhaps the situation may not have gotten to where it is right now. So according to reports, work is ongoing currently to appoint those ambassadors and make sure that they get on their jobs. Multiple presidency officials familiar with the development told correspondents of the Punch newspaper that the president had ordered a final cleanup of the list of nominees ahead of its release. I remember when I was reading this story, it struck me because according to why they hadn't sorted this out by now, apparently when the list came out and Senate screened the list, they had to return it to the president. And part of the reason why they gave for returning to the president is that some of the people who were on the list, to fill up these positions were either dead or had retired from service. And it struck me because it kind of took me back to the conversation about the instrument of clemency list. It did seem like, how would somebody be on that list with just barely a year left before they're about to finish their service, and they were on the list? At the very least, you should have had 2-3 people, people with maybe a relevant amount of time, so that at least by the time they go and serve in these capacities as ambassadors for our country, they're able to do it, at least within a reasonable tenure, right? But again, this is one of the reasons given, according to news reports, as to why it's taken so long. They had to review the list, review the names, and all of that. Anyway, long story short is this cleanup that they're doing will ensure that the final list reflects those still available and eligible to take up these positions. And they said the process can be completed in a week, as it doesn't take long to re-verify the names. Remember, this is about 2 years thereabout after his decision to recall the ambassadors from Nigeria's foreign missions, and it's looking like they're now beginning to see the need to expedite action. So All of that around the story of Nigeria being designated as a CPC and the developments coming from there. I'll see if I can take one other story before we go on the break and come back, share the last one, and open up the phone lines. Everywhere in the news is awash with this rowdy session that happened in the House of Reps and how they've had to shut down. Some reports are saying that one of the reasons why they've shut down, according to reports here, for 1 week, a number of things apart from the rowdy session and disagreements between members on the of the House of Representatives. There's also talks about indigenous contractors protesting at the National Assembly, and so they've had to go into a closed door session. Some other reports in the dailies are having it that they have gone for about a whole week. And we'll talk a little bit about that. But first of all, according to the news reports, what started this whole session was when the member representing Shomolu Federal Constituency, Lagos State, Ademore Kuye, drew the attention of his colleagues to what he called the illegal allocation of lands within the Lagos International Trade Fair Complex, and prayed the House to refer the matter to the Committee on Public Assets for investigation. Kuye is a member of the APC. He's also chairman of the House Committee on Public Assets. And proposing an amendment to the prayers, Delta lawmaker and chairman, House Committee on Rules and Business, Francis Waive, argued that though the matter brought before the Green Chamber is urgent, the Committee on Commerce, not Public Assets, should be in charge of the investigation. Of course, Waive was supported by another lawmaker from Akwa Ibom, Mark Esset, also with his argument that the Committee on Commerce should take responsibility on the matter. And then, it just sort of all went downhill from there. Yusuf Gagdi, representing Pangshin Kanke Kanam Federal Constituency, supported Kuye, and there was just this back and forth with no end in sight, and that led to a voice vote being called, and almost an equal number of lawmakers voted both in support and against the motion. Benjamin Kalu had to give it to the nays. Again, this problem about voice votes and how our legislative house is currently being conducted, where you're not quite sure about what you're getting in terms of support or what's the opposite now? Support or non-support for a motion. But of course, because of the voice vote issue and how it seemed sort of evenly matched, even when Benjamin Kalu gave it to the nays, there still was sort of dissatisfaction. Other issues again raised, a number of key motions. It just didn't seem like they were able to agree on some key motions, and so Voices of Dissent rent the chambers, and the plenary was suspended for a closed door session. This separate report, of course, we're getting about the 1 week that they've suspended plenary for, because of the conversation around contractors. Apparently, the House passed the resolution during today's plenary following the adoption of a motion sponsored by Kingsley Chinda, the minority leader, who said, look, there's a lot going on, and with the protest by indigenous contractors at the National Assembly, not the first of this issue, they are suspended. More details will come, of course, around these stories. But let's go take that quick break. After the commercial, when we come back, we'll look at the last story.
More news and information coming up. We'll be back in a moment.
Everyone says I'm beautiful and bold. They say I'm fashionable, and to crown it up, very confident. And my secret is...
People say...
The secret to my confidence is Wazobia perfume.
Absolutely.
A night where heaven touches earth, where oblations are raised to heaven in prayers, praise, and worship. It's Encounter 2025, a global worship experience aimed at bringing praise and glory to the Most High God. Join Reverend Dr. Sam and Pastor Mary Oye, the lead pastors of the Transforming Church International and the convener of the Prophetic Prayer Hour, as they host the Encounter 2025. Ministering with Tope Alabi, Choma Jesus, Moses Bliss, K Strings, Noble G, Adinka Alasayori, Prince Emmanuel, Dare Justified, Deborah Billy Ben, Great Man Tackett, Shaden John, Manus Apanke, Promise Benson, Chief Fields, Alma Blessing, the Toda family, and host of other worship leaders. Theme, Zoe. At the Transforming Church International, 7th Avenue, Onwaluwar Close, after Loop Gas, Guarimpa Estate, Abuja.
Date is Friday, 7th November 2025.
Time 8 p.m. till dawn. Join company of believers as well as give praise to our God and King. Come and have an encounter. See you there.
All right. For this story, honestly, it's upsetting sometimes when we have to come back to these conversations over and over again. But we cannot but pay attention to the news when it does come up. So we are going to get into it. Fortunately or unfortunately, I mean, we still have the National Association of Resident Doctors out in the streets complaining, or rather out of the hospitals complaining, and this coming 30 days, after the 30-day warning that they had given to the government and opened up, opportunities for conversations to be had, but of course they were not attended to, if you will, and they had to begin their strike on Saturday over years of unmet demands and poor working conditions. I'm sure, I can't remember which caller was that called yesterday asking what the situation is around the hospitals. Perhaps for those of you who have been there or have family that have been there, or loved ones, anyone at all that has been to the hospitals, you can share with us when we do open up the phone lines. But all the federal government seems to be doing is appealing, according to this report here, and trying to assure them of resolving doctors' grievances. I think as of yesterday, there it talks about just over 11 billion naira thereabout that they're planning to pay, not that they had paid. And so you're having hospitals, emergency and critical units, those skeletally functional, but most general consultations and clinics, what they call services, are being suspended. And then we wake up this morning and to hear that the Joint Health Sector Unions, that's JHESU, has issued a 15-day strike ultimatum to the federal government over its failure to implement the adjustment of the consolidated health salary structure, a demand that has remained unresolved for more than a decade. The group said that the disputes centers on this particularly, this CONHES, and was done with the consolidated medical salary structure CONMES for doctors on 3 different occasions since 2014. They put out a notice signed by JHESU's national chairman, Kabiru Minjibir, and National Secretary Martin Igbamnubi, accusing the federal government of insensitivity and discrimination in handling the welfare concerns of its members, despite several agreements and presidential assurances. JHESU, which comprises the Medical and Health Workers Union of Nigeria, the Nigerian Union of Allied Health Professionals, the Senior Staff Association of Universities, teaching hospitals, research institutes, and associated institutions, and the Non-Academic Staff Union of Educational and Associated Institutions, said the ultimatum took effect from Friday, 31st of October 2025. The union said the dispute centers on, of course, the CONHES, and according to them, the issue had been the subject of several negotiations, including a memorandum of understanding signed with the government on the 29th of October 2024, as well as earlier presidential assurances following a meeting between JHESU leaders and President Bola Ahmed Tinubu on the 5th of June 2023. So despite multiple conciliation meetings and commitments from government representatives, Johesu said the agreement has not been implemented. It noted that the federal government has repeatedly cited delays in convening the Presidential Committee on Salaries, which, according to the union, has not met since August of 2023, following the inauguration of the current Federal Executive Council. And they described the situation as the longest-running welfare dispute in Nigeria's labor history, with the government's high-level body having submitted a template for implementation to the PCS since 2022. They're also alleging discrimination. Yes, they criticize what it called the federal government's embarrassment and discriminatory treatment during a tripartite meeting in October of this year at the Federal Ministry of Finance. And the union said its representatives were invited alongside the NMA, the National Association of Nigerian Nurses and Midwives, NAN, and the Nigerian Association of Resident Doctors. However, after allowing discussions on NARD's strike threats, the Minister of State for Finance, Doris Uzoka-Anite, allegedly refused to grant Johesu representatives an opportunity to present their case. And they described the incident as antithetical to relationship management and the rules of engagement in industrial relations. As it stands, a 15-day ultimatum effective Friday is in place, and they said if the federal government fails to resolve and approve through a circular the adjustment of CONHES, all Johesu members will withdraw their services across health facilities nationwide with effect midnight, Friday 14th of November 2025. The health sector is already in the worst place, but apparently it could get even worse than this worst place that I'm talking about right now. Disruption of activities across hospitals all around the country, with NARD in its third day of their strike as of yesterday. And, it's just this huge mess. How can we and how can the government continue to disregard this key critical sector of our workforce? How? It just is mind-blowing. There's no other way around it. So you have NARD on strike. If they're able to resolve the NARD issue without resolving the Johesu issue, we're probably going to get Johesu go on strike, and it's just going to be this huge mess. Meanwhile, the president apparently is ordering immediate resolution to the National Association of Resident Doctors' demand. He directed the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare to take immediate steps to end the ongoing strike by NARD. Minister of State for Health and Social Welfare, Dr. Isiaq Salako, made this disclosure on Monday. Again, just an order, nothing really clear as to how the 19 unresolved demands of NARD can be met. I don't know if this order is going to be sufficient. Perhaps there is a clear directive given to the Federal Ministry of Health and Social Welfare, but everything from unpaid arrears, allowances, entitlements, such as the 25/35% CONMES review. So CONHES at the level of Johesu, CONMES at the level of NARD, promotion arrears, upgrade arrears, and accoutrement allowance, some pending for over 5 years. Can it really be this hard to meet our health workers on a level playing field? Can it really be this hard? This is not the first time this year NARD is on strike. At first, it was just the Abuja chapter, then it was briefly across the nation, while the Abuja chapter of NARD was still, in their own situation. And then, you get these promises going back and forth. The government really needs to sit up. I don't know how else to say this, but this is terrible. All right, just a quick one aside before we open up the phone lines, talking about perhaps what some of these health workers and generally, everybody who decides to embark on a strike action now is looking at as a way to get government to respond. Senator Atasha Akpoti-Uduaghan said, apparently, you have to be a rebel to get things done. This was a statement that she made in a video that circulated earlier on today, where she alleged that she didn't allege. How do I put this now? Immigration officials apparently seized her passport, and she was alleging that the Senate president had something to do with it. If I look for the video and play it at some point, and she had to go live, make a video talking about how what is her crime, even if she had court cases pending, court cases which she, by the way, said that the president had instructed should be struck out because the reason they came up in the first place was sort of like a tactic to bully her or something, given the whole drama that happened that led to her 6-month suspension, right? She said they had, sometime around that period, they had seized her passport. She had gone to the airport, had it seized by the immigration officials, and it took her calling some high-profile person to get them to release it to her. And she's like, "Oh, I'm marking my what's it called? Second year in office, and I'm done with the activities. I want to take time out, go for a break." She gets to the airport, and the immigration officials seize her passport again, and she had to go live, do a video, saying, "Please tell them to release my passport. What crime have I done? Have I done anything? I'm not a flight risk." She went on and on in the video. It was quite chaotic, honestly, to see it. You had a bunch of immigration officials across the counter, one of them a lady holding her passport, and the lady was trying to make calls to whoever. And Natasha Akut went live and said, "Look, I have to rebel. What is this? Why you will be holding my passport?" Said a lot, but apparently just from her actions going live and making a case about it, with a female official behind the counter telling her sorry, and she's saying, "Look, it's like I'm going to have to sue you. You can't continue to embarrass me like this." And the lady kept saying sorry and said, "Don't tell me sorry. Let me have my passport." Long story short, someone else who was now in possession of the passport came and handed it back to her, after the protest that she made there. So, just to put that one out there, but I mean, should it get to the point where Nigerians have to take such action, go live? I remember going through the comments, and it was people on both sides of a divide. Someone saying, "Why don't you, if you say it's the Senate president that has something to do with it, why don't you call him up and why don't you call him up and have this conversation with him instead of going live?" But honestly, at this rate, people are just left with very little option. Not no option. There are other options, obviously, that you can engage, but should you have to get to this point? What was it that happened? I think just last week, where they had to release billions of naira just to assuage ASU. Thank God for that, for our children. But now we're having resident doctors, then health workers, then it's just all over the place. It's just all over the place. But what are your thoughts on this? I'm going to open up the phone lines right now and let you weigh in on the conversation with me as my guests. I'll share 3 stories, starting with China's position on the threat by Trump and the USA. We moved on to the session in the House of Representatives, and I mean, considering that one, honestly, I find that some of the most engaging conversations that you can be privileged to view, if you will, are some of the conversations that happen on the floor of Parliament. And you can watch across different countries to see the kind of conversations that I had. There's usually some drama, especially if it's a conversation of particular concern. Let me use that word. Depending on how grievous or how important the conversation is, there usually is drama. I don't know that I see that in our house. The kind of drama we see is, does it engage you? Perhaps it's just me. Maybe you can let me know about that as well. But also, talking about other stories, Joe Hesu and their ultimatum and strike, what's happening generally in our health sector, and the moves people have to make really to get the government to respond. Can we do better than that? How can we get our government to do better than that? These are some of the stories. So let's talk. 0700951 0000, 0809 597 4869, and on WhatsApp 0809 993 0137. Remember, if you're sending a message on WhatsApp, you're sending a voice note on WhatsApp, keep it short, no more than a minute 30 seconds, so that everybody can get the opportunity to give their thoughts. Hello?
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. My name is Agela Victor from
Welcome, Mr. Victor.
You see, China has a lot of economic interest in Nigeria, and is one of our big partners. And they try as much as possible to protect their own interests, especially economic interests in Nigeria, in Africa. And America too is now eyeing some things in Nigeria. Some people believe that America want to only intervene militarily, but they want to intervene economically because they also have the eyes. So there will be a competition between China and America. That is why we have to be very careful not to allow America to intervene militarily. America has a lot of domestic challenges, especially the shutdown for the past 1 year. Millions of Americans are going through hard times now. And look at the crimes in American cities. So let Donald Trump face his own domestic problems and leave us alone. We can tackle this problem. We have the ability to tackle it. What we need is political will, and we will defeat this right-hand terrorist. Then as for people who believe that America is the only country that can rescue us from this right-hand terrorist, they are just making a big mistake. America will polarize and balkanize countries as they do in all the countries they intervene. We should be very careful so that there will be no war between two superpower countries who have economic interest. They say when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. We have to be very careful not to invite America. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Victor. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Welcome.
This is Mike on the line.
Go ahead, sir. Go ahead.
So I want to talk about the American community to help us here in this country. Americans are saying they are not coming here for their government or to overthrow the government. When they are saying that forest that your army cannot go and wipe out those for 15 years, they are coming to do that. What is bad in that? Except those guys that have collecting in their promotion, who are gaining, who are benefiting. I think different things. The sovereignty, look at it, you are killing people every day. Do you think the one will keep quiet and be looking at us? Something has to be done. The people that are responsible to do it, they refuse to do it. They don't have I don't know what, they don't have the God, I don't know what I'll do.
All right. Was surely did fail you there. Good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon.
Welcome.
Somi, how are you doing?
I'm well. I thank God.
Thank you. My name is Mr. Dan, calling from Newcastle.
All right.
Please, I want us to get it right. Those of us who say that we can think, how long are we going to take care of us? Some of us who are saying that America should not come. How many of them, their own brothers and sisters, were killing Jos? We are killing Zafara. We are killing Kaduna. We are killing Benue. How many of them? See, we need these people. We need help. That is not the truth. Let's not shy away from the truth. Nigeria needs help.
What would help?
They cannot back anybody, all those terrorists.
Can you
they are making a lot of money from it.
I hear you, sir. Can you say exactly the kind of help that you think a foreign country, I'm not just talking about America now, a foreign country can provide?
The help we need from them is we need at least sophisticated weapons. We need sophisticated weapons whereby these terrorists can be picked anywhere from where they hide.
Okay.
The truth is, even the Nigerian police, some of them who are very good in Nigeria, they know where they are, but because of political will, they don't want to help.
So when you say we need weapons,
our problem in this country, the politicians don't want good things to happen in this country.
So when you say you need weapons,
sir, making use of this,
hello, sir, are you with me?
A lot of money.
Can you hear me, sir? Can you hear me, sir?
I'm hearing you.
So when you say we need weapons, who are they going to deploy these weapons to? Do you want them to come and use the weapons themselves, or are they still going to have a conversation with our federal government?
I want them to come and use the weapons themselves. Then they can, bring some of our military to join them, to help them. There are some people who are ready to, fight to make.
Hello, sir.
That is why we are suffering today. No food, not because of the terrorist situation. Please, we need help to me. God bless you. God bless Nigeria.
All right. Okay. Deploy them themselves, he says, in conjunction with the Nigerian military. Okay. Let's take some more thoughts on this. Lukman from Kado Estate says, those calling for America to come in should not forget in a hurry that some countries that are not in good terms with America will also have interest in Nigeria. For example, Iran, Russia, China, and so on. By the time they all drop their bombs here, that is when they will turn Nigeria to Gaza. Let's think now. We don't need America. We need upright leaders, not America. And that's from Lukman in Kadu Estate. Somi, China and the so-called Nigerian leaders are partners in crime, Israel says. Beijing is quick to speak because they are worried that the presence of the U.S. forces in Nigeria could hinder the exploitation of Nigeria. Somi Ahmed Gumi said that the Nigerian terrorists are reasonable people and should not be eliminated by force. Reasonable people that kill law-abiding, armless citizens. If the authorities want to do something differently, they should take Gumi into custody immediately. Finally, a foreign security expert had cautioned the Nigerian security agencies to be loyal to the Constitution of Nigeria and not pay allegiance to their personal faith. Instead, as that has affected their service negatively. He said he has been in Nigeria for a long time and had observed that a particular tribe dominates the police and the military and shouldn't be so. Therefore, those who are blaming Donald Trump's plan on IPOB should know that the international community are watching and know everything happening in Nigeria. He had a plan on IPOB? Okay. Okay, I don't know what that message is about. Let's take a voice note very quickly.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
How's work?
As well.
I'm Mr. Ojo from Karamajiji.
All right, sir.
I think America should soft pedal. Now that China have come out to tell Trump to take it easy with Nigeria. As we had, not only Nigeria is on this country of certain abuse, how did they call it, CNC or whatever.
CPC.
China too is the same. It's on their list of a country of concern. Can he declare military action against China? No. But he likes to be bullying other small countries. See what he's doing with Venezuela, bombing their chiefs here and there. The same thing he wanted to do in Nigeria, because Nigeria is now a business partner with China, and he didn't like it because he thought that he's the only one that he can dominate the whole world. No. If he call himself a superpower, other country too is a superpower. Russia is a superpower. China is a superpower. But they are just looking at him to let him disgrace himself. That even I can use that word. But if you think that you can bully other country, other superpower too are waiting to call him to order. I think enough is enough. We should soft pedal. Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you.
I'm Mr. Ojo from
Okay.
Karamajiji. Have a nice day.
Hello.
Hello, Somi.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes, sir.
How is the work?
It's well. I thank God. Go ahead, please.
In fact, this is my first time coming. This is Chukwemeka calling from Karimo.
Chukwemeka, good to have you here. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma. In fact, just like Pepper to the scholar said, we should get things straight. Then for me, I would like America to come. And we are tired hearing people being killed in Nigeria. None of my brother or sister or any of my relation was killed in this war, in this crisis in Nigeria. I never lost anyone. But I see every time I open your social media or hearing people being killed in hundreds, in Benue, in Plateau, in Niger, in Southern Kaduna, and Sokoto, and almost around the whole Nigeria, people of certain caliber continue killing people. I know government is just not doing anything. I know that they're trying to do something, but they are not doing enough. People continue dying every day, continue hearing news. Instead, what we are hearing our politicians doing is how to win election 2027. They continue dancing from one party to another. This is not what we want to. Want to tackle this problem headlong. I'm tired hearing of people, children, mother, being killed every day. And we come on for issue of mineral resources we are talking about. Somebody should live to enjoy the mineral resources. If America should come after, helping us out of this problem. Even they can even take care of the mineral resources for some time. Fine. But want to say our brothers and sisters live to enjoy the mineral resources that God gave them. This is God-given gift. Every day we continue talking about mineral resources. We continue losing our brothers and sisters in warfare. And everybody continue to, feel as nothing is happening. Me, I don't feel like that. So I want anybody that can help us out of this problem to come. This is what we want. Thank you, Somi. God bless you, ma.
Thank you, sir. I mean, I'll just say, I see, if I wasn't in the know of some of the dastardly acts that have happened as a result of the activities of terrorist bandits and all of that, what have you, I came across the video of what's that? There's a clergyman, I think it's in Jos, Kaduna, if I'm not mistaken. Dachoma, if I recall his name correctly. This man has been on this issue for a while. As a matter of fact, before even CPC became a thing, that man has been calling on America to come and save us. And I get it. I get it. I really do. However, when we're having these conversations, whether it's a China, whether it's a US, whoever it is that we are calling on to come and save us, I think we should always go back and look at history, right? And see what the cost of saving us will always lead to. Look at what's happening in times past. This is the first and last time I'm going to say this. This is not to stifle anybody's opinion, just to enlighten us a little bit. It's good and great, right, to have help. But can we put a face, or can we get a clear idea of what this help is supposed to look like? And this is why I say this. Typically, when a country is designated a country of particular concern by the US, for example, there are, what they call it now, there are procedures that follow that designation. I think it starts out with non-economic sanctions, and when all those fail, you now have economic sanctions. So I don't hear a lot of people complaining about the designation as a CPC, except for maybe some arms of government, right? So if it's a country of particular concern and what follows is economic measures, and all of that. For example, Trump started the tweet by talking about how they were going to withdraw aid. I think that's fantastic. That's fantastic. But when you get to Donald Trump talking about boots on ground or possible airstrikes, think about it. What are the particulars of how such airstrikes, for example, will be carried out that will ensure that the only people that are being eliminated are the terrorists and the bandits? I know that people will say, yes, they have their intel, they have this, they have that. But it's not always just about the religious element now that the US is using to make these threats. There's so much more to it. You can argue it left, right, and center, but they won't just come and offer help for nothing. They will want their pound of flesh back. And I say pound of flesh because there have been conversations going on prior to this whole scenario between the Nigeria and the US, and you could see where the direction of the US foreign policy is going with concerns to these conversations with Nigeria. Take it to any conversation that the US is having from the MAGA standpoint, which Donald Trump is very big on. It's America first. So the help that they're coming to provide, we need to critique it, right? And be sure, don't just say, oh, we just need help. And that's, for me, is the biggest issue here. It's not wrong to call for help, but what face does this help take? What is the nature of? I mean, the man used invasion, and people are there saying he's not going to invade. Hello, it's Donald Trump we're talking about. When he uses such terms, he can very well follow up with it. Erratic as it's been deemed to be in times past, it's not something that we should take lightly. So it's okay to call for help. Honestly, I think it is. This situation has persisted for too long. But can we have a conversation? Can we put a face to what this help is supposed to look like, so that we are not going to go from frying pan to fire? Because what does history tell us about the help from foreign nations? Yes, this is very much a U.S. conversation. That's why some of the people who have said, look, you are now having other foreign countries come and declare, oh, this is our strategic partner. These are, we wouldn't take this, we wouldn't take that. Trust me, go back again to history and see what it then disintegrates to when you have these foreign people, these foreign powers take on these positions, as far as, especially an African country, I would say, is concerned. Because it all comes down to resources at the end of the day. It all comes down to it. They are not going to give you help for nothing. So let's be clear about the kind of help that I think that we want to get. That's why my conversation with my guest yesterday, I kept asking, what should the Nigerian government do? And some officials have said, call for more arms, more this, more that. But perhaps there's a lot more that can be done, because arms didn't seem to be the problem. If you look at the marriage dispensation up until it didn't seem to be the problem. It seemed to be much more than that. So let's focus on how we can fix this with help, if we must get help. But let's not just be open to all kinds of help. It all comes with a cost. It all comes with a cost. Whether it's China, trust me, there are costs associated to these things. There have been other African nations that have been very, very vocal about some of these other countries, not the US now, but what it always comes down to at the end of the day. Do we need help dealing with this situation? Would very much like for our leaders to get on top of it. But where they're not on top of it, and we need help from foreign nationals, from foreign countries, let's be circumspect in what we are calling for, I think, is what I'll just say about that. I'll take a quick commercial break. When I come back, the conversation continues. The phone lines will still be open. We're taking your messages.
Where oblations are raised to heaven in prayers, praise, and worship. It's Encounter 2025, a global experience bringing glory to the Most High God. Reverend and Pastor Mario, Masters of Transform and of the Prophet Prayer Hour as the Encounter 2025. Ministering with Thomas Moses, Adrian, Bulgi, Alio, Prince Emmanuel, Dare Justifa, Billy Ben, Great Man Tactic Leaders. Theme Zoe at the Transforming Church International 7th Avenue, Waluwar Close, after Loop Gate. Until dawn. Join company of believers as well as give praise to our God and King. Come and have an encounter. See you there.
The politics of our nation.
They have that right to protest. There is no need to go there now start shooting.
The current affairs of our state.
Everywhere we have gone to, the dirt of Abuja is not on the surface.
All at your fingertips on your Let's Talk station.
95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. Stay on track with
And then so the aviation workers also want to join the strike.
Your access to all the top stories and more. The politics of our nation.
They have that right to protest. There is no need to go there now start shooting.
The current affairs of our state.
Everywhere we have gone to, the dirt of Abuja is not on the surface.
All at your fingertips on your Let's Talk station.
95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's talk. The details.
The stories.
With the updates.
Your number one station for talk brings it all.
Nigerian politics is more strategic. Even look at the game of numbers.
And now, news from the nation's capital. This is Abuja Today.
Appointed permanent secretary for the FCT administration, Ibrahim Ozi, has pledged to uphold the highest standards of professionalism and integrity in the discharge of his duties. Following his appointment by President Bola Tinubu, Ozi was among 5 new permanent secretaries appointed by the president to fill existing vacancies in the federal civil service. The announcement was made in Abuja by the head of civil service of the Federation, D.D. Wilson Jack, through a statement issued by the Director of Information and Public Relations, Eno Olutu. The other appointees include Ezemama Chidebere, Imo State, Garaba Usman, North Central, Mohammed Ishiako, Northeast, and Wikerie Chibowu, Southeast. The FCT Health Services and Environment Secretariat has begun mobilizing students in secondary and tertiary institutions to take the lead in protecting the environment for future generations. The campaign headed by Biola Olaiya, who visits the teaching students on environmental protection west of the community in Abuja. The class opened in Abuja demanded Secretary of the Health Services Secretariat, Dr. Dolapo Fashawe, said the Secretariat is partnering with various stakeholders to sensitize young people on the dangers of air pollution and the need to embrace clean energy solutions. Dr. Fashawe expressed optimism that the initiative will help reduce air pollution in the FCT and promote environmental sustainability for well-being of residents. And in nearby Niger, the All Progressive Congress swept the just concluded local government winning all 25 governorship seats across the state. The Niger State Independent Electoral Commission officially confirmed the results. describing the polls as credible, transparent, and reflective of the people's will. In a statement signed by the Commissioner for Operations, Mohammed Liman, the Commission confirmed that all returning officers had concluded the collation and declaration of results in line with the electoral law and the Commission's operational guidelines. And that's Abuja today. Thank you for listening. More news comes your way, 5 p.m. news update. I am Joy Eberebe.
The conversation, your views.
We talk info.
With all the stories that make the news,
The headlines,
the caption,
the breaking news, details of the stories.
let's talk about these and more.
On 95.1 Nigeria Info. Let's talk.
Sarah Wright
has been found guilty in Nigeria. 2. A person shall not be with contravention election if he dies as a result of the use of insurrection or mutiny. This means the life cannot be taken away except in very specific cases, like if a court sentences for a serious crime or if someone is acting in self-defense. In other words, nobody has the license to just end another person's life anyhow. But here's the bigger gist. The right to life is not only about breathing in and out. It's about the government so what in the city and on the highway, kidnappers or armed robbers in the city, we're really talking about the government failing to hold the right to life. It is a demand for life to be valued. Every time we say fix these bad roads, stop tanker explosions, end police brutality, we are saying respect our rights to life. Because when the police shoot recklessly at protests, when kidnappers strike unchecked, when hospitals turn patients back for lack of money, the Constitution itself is being disrespected. And let's Nigeria is by law. So, the next time someone shrugs and says, "Na Naija we dey, life no get value," remind them the Constitution actually places the highest value on life. Higher than money, higher than politics, higher than power. Your life is your right, and is the first right that gives meaning to every other.
you write your burden. Protect them.
Welcome back to Hard Facts.
Welcome back indeed. It's still Hard Facts. We're still streaming on Facebook and YouTube, and we'll be taking your thoughts from there very soon. Interesting that this particular sweeper has played 2 times now, speaking about right to life. I think when it comes down to it, this is all Nigerians really are asking for from our government. And the fact that they have let this linger for so long, irrespective of when it started or who it started with, I think is the reason why you have a lot of Nigerians so upset with the situation of things and having them call out for foreign aid and all sorts. I mean, whether it's on health, whether it is on banditry and terrorism activities, whether it is on targeted killings, no matter what it is, every Nigerian deserves the right to life, and they need to see a government that is showing serious commitment towards preserving that. Upon the esteemed National Assembly to exercise its legislative prerogative and promulgate statutes that will uplift succor abroad by ensuring that health is within the shores of our beloved nation and the grievances of our long-suffering medical fraternity are finally addressed. He also says the NC in Nigeria has clear vulnerable security agencies. The Western world seems to be fueling it. Our troops frequently catch these insurgents with large sums of dollars and advanced weapons, raising questions on how they're getting their resources. I mean, you have a point there, Ernest, and perhaps if we don't understand the gravity of some of these things being fueled, whether by state actors or foreign players, look at what's happening in the phone lines. Good afternoon. Oopsie daisy, sorry about that. Hello.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Welcome.
My name is Ambeka Mgwarepa.
All right, so go ahead.
I saw that video clips trending. The Senator Natasha, but it's now obvious to the whole world that she's been hunted. It's no longer the president have, before you made that, if you saw that if you found out that even those migration they were sober. they were kind of confused. Why would you seize her passport? As far as Nigerian concern is concerned, nobody is guilty until the court, competent court of jurisdiction, pronounce this person as guilty. She's still innocent. Why has any court pronounced that this way? I don't see it. If you making that like this thing, calling and they started saying sorry. They now brought this thing. Probably they have received a call. You see when they went to a corner. Why are they making Nigeria the theater of the Zop? Why are they turning this country to banana republic? Why? It's unfortunate. Thank you.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Hello. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, Somi.
Welcome.
My name is Mike Winblows.
Good to have you here, sir. Go ahead.
Yeah, you see, this Natal issue for me, I don't know if I've mentioned it on this platform. I said the Nigerian citizenship and identity gap. Until those gaps are closed, we'll be seeing this. Is somebody like is a whole senator being treated that way publicly? So me, that will not allow me because the black citizenship thing. I won't make me a call now. But what I will tell you is that as we speak now, to me, if somebody asks me, I say, what is your citizenship of Nigeria? What is it? What do you have to tell that? Say somebody asks you, says, to me, are you in Nigeria? What is your citizenship in Nigeria? What do you have to pretend that? One say, not say, okay, one good fly your Trump, whatever is the main reason why I call.
I'm with you.
So me, are you there?
I'm with you.
Yes,
I'm with you.
Okay. You see, I've been telling us to say, look, we always talk about governance, government. We think we have a government, we have a good governance, or we say we're running democracy. For me, now some people just form a clique, cult-like clique, on the run on street in the name of governance. Me, that is what I can describe what we have. Because, like you rightly say, one of your presentations, you said everything we're talking about, it's all about resources. So, are we aware? And I'm telling us that in Borno State, we were told that we have one of the most expensive mineral resources in the world, Californium. And we know what is happening to that mineral resources in Nigeria today. Thank God that is the state of the vice president. And the insurgency, the Boko Haram, they're all talking about, is bringing religious connotation to it. Me now because of that mineral resources all this time. And we've heard about activities of you say that other international communities have made.
Okay.
What has Trump told us about that? So let me also remind us. Have we forgotten that an American was kidnapped in Cameroon and brought to Nigeria? America come all the way from America to come and rescue their citizens. We were told that they killed all the terrorists and went with their citizens safely. Have we forgotten?
All right, Mike.
If America can carry that out with such precision, which means they know what this thing is. If they want to really, if they are sincere and honest about their help, they don't want to come and help because of insecurity. They're clean. In fact, for me, I said it the other time, say adding a religious tone to it is wrong.
Thank you very much, Mike.
All right.
Thank you very much. Your time is done for now. Maybe you can call back later to conclude your thoughts. I need to go to the messages. There's a ton of them here. Let's take this one here. Boniface from Airport Road says, why are we crying when the same government told us to defend ourselves? So now we have someone that will volunteer to come and help us. Why are they crying? Please. They keep the security to themselves and their families, so they should allow the US to help also. If Nigeria does not happen to you, you will not understand what is going on in this country. This is 6 years. I can't travel by road due to insecurity. Good afternoon, Somi. What Senator Natasha did was okay. Wait until Nigeria does you, then you will understand what Nigerians go through on a daily basis in the hands of politicians. This country, we all need to be, marshals? Architects from Lube with that one. When I hear people say we can handle the situation of insecurity, I ask, why persistence of killing people, or could that mean the government knows about this killing? If yes, China is benefiting from the insecurity. Mr. Dada Yunana in Tasha 1 says. Honorable Patrick from Apo says, I strongly disagree with the first caller's perspective on combating insurgency in Nigeria, given the government's inefficiencies. America's assistance would be beneficial in addressing this issue. All right. Here, Imam from Abuja says, make no mistake about it. The consciousness of America is the beginning of wisdom. America is the policeman of the world. As at today, no country in the world can confront America one-on-one. They have age-long allies that are ready to stand with them, come rain, come sun. Imagine the shaking the statement of Trump is causing already. in Nigeria. All right, a voice note, and then we'll go back to the phone lines.
Good afternoon, Somi.
Good afternoon.
My name is Panama.
Okay.
On the issue of Americans coming to help Nigeria in tackling this insecurity issue, people are saying the Americans are coming to destabilize the government, coming to destabilize the country, and so on, this and that. Is this the first time American president or Americans are having interest in Nigeria or having to do anything with this country? This is not the first time. Under President Obasanjo, head of three American presidents visited this country in a very cordial relationship. You understand? That does not warrant them intervening in terms of war and taking anything in this country. But I wonder how people are so jittering, bothering themselves about what Americans are coming. They are coming here to deal with the terrorists. Simple. It doesn't matter if it is Christians that are being killed. The fact is Nigerians are being killed, and they are coming to do just that. So let's forget about all this. And Americans are coming to destabilize the world. Let them come and do. Let us see what's going to happen. We need it now because the present government cannot do it. Simple. Thank you.
Some of us are not surprised on the foot dragging of the presidency, Nemefa Masokoro says, as far as the compilation of ambassadors list, because just as the late Buhari was aloof for about 9 months before coming up with the ministerial list, thus this is synonymous with APC presidents. Lacking in capacity and competence, always globetrotting at every slightest occasion without taking time to sit down at home and confront the numerous challenges confronting the country. On the Chinese government coming to talk tough, we are not surprised either because their companies are the major beneficiaries of most mining sites that are legally, while their nationals are mostly the financiers of illegal mines in the country, even to the point that some nationals have been arrested in the course of the Nigerian military in gun duel with terrorists and bandits in the north. We're either flying drones for the terrorists or supplying weapons in exchange for the protection of illegal mining sites. All right, back to the phone lines. Good afternoon.
Hello.
Yes, sir.
Good evening.
Welcome.
Thank you. My name is Jacob.
All right, good. Go ahead, please.
Okay, this issue of Trump and the Nigerian government, the way I look at it, I don't believe Trump has special interest in this thing. If you know, after September 11 attack, the then President Bush was crying. I saw him watching the television that as far as the world is concerned today, that anywhere terrorists are in any part of the world, that he will make it as a policy in America that anywhere terrorists are terrorizing people, that America will go back to go fight them. So it's already part of their foreign policy. It is really not, Americans are not like Nigeria when we don't have any policies that is on ground we are following, where we do everything yaga yaga. They are not like that. What Trump is trying to say, in fact, to me, if they can even come this night, me and others will be very, very, very happy. I'm not staying in that part of the country. I'm not in Zafara. I'm not in I'm in Abuja. It's one of the most protected states area in Nigeria. This is where I am. But anytime I hear it, my fellow Nigerians are being killed by fellow Nigerians, begging others to kill us here, I always in pain. They should come. We should not add policies to it. They should, when they come, they should work together in collaboration with our military. Not that going to do it alone. They should come together and work together. Some people were suggesting mercenary that time. This mercenary they were suggesting, Nigerians not going to pay them. This one has the volunteer to come. At the end of the exercise, we can say thank you. That is just all.
All right.
Because many could suggest mercenary here. Nigerians going to pay for this mercenary. But this man is saying that no, it's not good. Let us go and help help our fellow human beings. Let's remove religion out of it. Probably what is angry people because she said they are killing Christians. Let's forget about that. But the most important thing, Nigerians are dying. Whether not Christian or whether not Muslim, Nigerians are dying. They should come.
All right then.
I'm in pain all time. I've said this several times on this station. Anytime I hear it, I was in pain. Look at one of the video I watched, documentary, not quite long. That's what happened in Jos. 501. We are killed a single day. The mass grave. Look, I will send it to you now. When I finish this video, my talk, I will send it to you. The mass grave, the names of all these people were written there. And you are telling me that there's no killing, that they should not come because you did not touch your relative. Did not touch your son, did not touch your daughter. What type of country are we?
All right, sir.
Very, very unfortunate. But in spite of that, I'm still proud to be a Nigerian. Who's not proud to be a Nigerian is not fit to live. Thank you.
Oh, I didn't cut you off in time. Oh, that was very unnecessary, that last statement. No, that was very unnecessary, please. Everybody has a right to their opinions, sir. You shouldn't definitely not have said that last bit. Very unnecessary. I would very much like it if you do wish to call into the station again, you have to start by taking that back. It's unacceptable to say that. All right. Back to the messages. There's so many. It is shocking to me that Nigerians don't want this insecurity to stop. There are so many sympathizers of a terrorist based on religion or imbibed hatred for America. Killings all over Nigeria, and our leaders are acting helpless. Olatunde Ibrahim Dawaki. I think for me that honestly is the biggest conversation. It's the seeming helplessness of our leaders, whether it's at the state level with the governors or at the level of the presidency. They have the military out in some of these areas, battling day and night. I mean, from time to time we get reports about the gains that are being made. But it's been on for too long, I think, to not have a decisive end to it. Also, I think the government needs to sit up, especially when it comes to putting out lists. I mean, we've heard of so many lists of people who are responsible for this, sponsoring it. Was it Father Alia the other day that was alluding to something of that sort as well? And it just seems like there is this cover-up when it comes to it. Whatever is being done, as much as there may be some gains being made, and I'm speaking generally now to the fight against terrorism, banditry, kidnapping, everything you want to call it, plus targeted killings, because those are happening. And any conversation saying that that's not happening is just really unfair. In certain parts of the country, those are happening more than in other parts, yes. So in their entire scope of dealing with this issue, it's been on for too long, I think, for the federal government to not be able to end this decisively. And I'm not just saying by words to say, oh, we have neutralized bandits, or we have taken control of this, or we have done this or done this. Find the head, cut it off, and let's be done with it. I think that is where our government has not shown enough might. And I think that's part of the reason why we have a lot of this dissatisfaction and disheartening stories and everything continuing to make waves. There's also the issue of they're cutting off one. Another one is coming up somewhere else. So it just makes nonsense of whatever little has been done, if any at all. So it's beyond calling for international aid. Again, I've made the point clear. Do we need aid? Yes. Do we need help dealing with this issue? Yes. I've only said, let's be sure what we're asking for, right? But going beyond that, or before we get to that point, our government needs to be seen on paper, in reality. In fact, forget the paper. In reality, across board, in every state where we have seen these things happen for too long, they need to be very, very decisive in ending it. In some instances where they're trying to adopt some of that, what they call a non-kinetic approach, it just seems to make a mockery of the lives that have been lost. And so, if you're crying out and you're saying, oh, our government is not capable, I don't think it's a lack of capability. I just think it's a lack of will, just like a lot of people have said, to end it once and for all. Let's take a break. We'll come back and wrap it up.
This November, a new chapter unfolds. For the very first time, the Salem Outpour.
This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.
Nigeria Info.
This is Nigeria Info. This is Nigeria Info.